technical difficulties are. Darn, you want to talk T-shirts?
Yeah, rock and roll. Super.
Awesome. All right, so we got into this just a little bit where you told me that you were basically printing your art on T-shirts. I did see the photo of the model wearing the image of herself as the model. What?
No, that was two different models.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what's the goal? Why are we looking at T-shirts right now? Just because you want people wearing your art?
I've been keen about this for a long time. It was actually one of the reasons I picked up a camera and took it seriously. I was in Tokyo in 2009, and I never really liked T-shirts. I always stayed away from T-shirts and thought they were kind of shitty. And I was in a T-shirt store, just happened to find myself in a T-shirt store on the first day I was in Tokyo, and I saw this T-shirt with this girl, like a full color print on the T-shirt, and it was kind of provocative, kind of a bit suggestive. And I just fell in love with it and said, "That's fucking hot." And it's the first time since I was a kid I actually wanted a T-shirt. So I bought it, and I just liked the T-shirt more and more and more and more. And then I ended up finding out who the photographer was. So I found the company who made it, then found out who the photographer was, and really got into his photos because they're all really cool and suggestive and kind of pushing boundaries and shit for me of what you'd put on a T-shirt. And I was like, you know what? I want to pick up a camera and start making T-shirts with, like, you know, graphics, like photographs and shit. So I've had this idea for a long, 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 long time. And that Bill Hicks print was just the first one that I was like, you know what? I reckon I can put this on a T-shirt and make it look fucking hot. And yeah, I really, really loved the outcome. So I'd like to do more of that sort of stuff if I can think of more ideas that might look hot, because not every photo is going to look good on a T-shirt, unfortunately.
Yeah. Do you have a list of how many you want to start with, or which ones you think are top priority?
I don't have a list of photos that I think would look good. Like, I get the general idea, something like with a white studio background on a white T-shirt usually works. But yeah, no, I haven't thought too much on the actual poses and stories and prints on T-shirts that would look good. I just happened to have this one photo I thought would work, and it did. Worked really well. Looks great. So now I'm going to make about 55 of these shirts.
Okay, so I'm going to write a couple things down just so I can reference them while we're going back and forth. So right now, our priority is not prints or digital, it's T-shirts. And we're doing 55 of them. How much are they costing you to get made?
My friends told me about $700, but I reckon it's going to come into probably about $1,000.
Okay. Do you know what you want to sell them for right now?
Probably about $1,000 each. That's what I want to sell them for.
Okay, well, if they're, assuming you're right at $1,000, they're coming out to less than $19 a piece, which definitely, I mean, that's totally fine, because well, I don't know what the market is right there, but I mean, here people drop like $30, $40 on a T-shirt if it's from one of their designer labels.
Yeah.
What are you thinking of starting them at?
Probably $50, because not a lot of people actually do good quality digital prints on shirts. There's a lot of really shitty companies that do prints for you, and the size is really small, which is one thing I've toyed around with in the past. So I've got a couple of other shirts that I've made, and the size is really small. The print's not great. The shirt quality's not so awesome. But I just happen to have a friend in fashion in Korea who's been sourcing some really good material for us to use, some good fabrics and stuff. So there's the first shirt I got done that you saw, the model. I was really, really happy with that. But she's gone and found some even better fabric for us to do the first run with. So yeah, it should be good.
Okay, so we're keeping the T-shirt quality really high too.
Yeah.
So you have two different two different things that we're actually selling, because there's obviously they're not going to buy the t-shirt if they don't like what's on it, but I know a lot of people that won't buy certain clothes because they don't like the way the fabric feels. So I'm happy to see you highlighting it.
I'm a bit like that as well. If a t-shirt fabric's really shit, and a lot of it really is, it's such a pain in the ass to wear it. It's like, so, and that's what I love about this shirt that I got printed. I'm like, I actually really, really, really like the fabric. I think it's fucking awesome, and I'd wear that anyway. But it just so happens to have a really cool print in it. And there's a lot of t-shirts out there. It's just god awful, and I hate them with a passion. Yeah, the quality's just horrible and cheap and shitty. And so yeah, I wouldn't want to make something like that. Which, you know, we talked about that, and it's a lot cheaper and can make a lot more money if you sell them. But I fucking hate them, so I don't want to do it.
I don't necessarily. There's a difference between making more money, because your overhead cost is lower on a per t-shirt basis, and making more money overall. And people get that confused a lot in business, because they'll go, oh, she's doing so well. She charges $2,000 a session, and I'm only charging $200. But when you look at the end of the month, person A is doing more sessions, and so the actual amount being brought in per month is more. With the lower end photographer, they're still making a higher profit.
Yeah.
Ray's like getting ready to go rob a bank.
Yes, I just robbed a bank. Yeah.
You got on, you're like even going like this, like you're like.
Freezing.
You can come here and visit. It's 92 right now.
Yeah, it's 12 here, whatever that is in. It's probably what 40 degrees or something. This is Adelaide, Australia. It's meant to be hot.
No, thank you. I will keep my warm weather. All right. So Darn, where are we putting these t-shirts out? Have you given that any thought?
Yeah, I went and looked at a place. Yesterday. What's today? Monday. Yeah, I went and looked at a t-shirt store yesterday just to see what sort of prints they do. They were pretty busy, so I didn't get a chance to really talk to them about where they source their material from. But I've heard they do a bit of, you can submit designs to them, which I'm not too comfortable with doing that with my stuff, because I want to have more control over what happens to my stuff. I wouldn't be too happy with giving someone else my design to go and make shirts and stuff. But just as a general reference, I thought I'd go and check out their designs that they have and how they print their stuff. And it's like, yeah, they're kind of shit. You know, they're completely different target market, and the quality of their prints are quite different, quite small, quite limited. I was like, wow, you know, maybe there's really a market for this. You know, you just have to find them and get them out there somehow, market it the right way. Because yeah, it seems like a lot of people make really mediocre designs. And having said that, though, there's a company in the UK called I Am Dope. I think it's I Am Dope, who make fucking amazing designs, and I love the shirts that they put out. They just look awesome, and I haven't seen anyone in Australia that does anything like that. I haven't seen anyone in the world that does anything like that, actually.
Okay, so this is your unicorn right now, as far as the standard of quality. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer, and you know, we know this. We learn by mimic everything we do, from talking, walking, eating, feeding ourselves, our mannerisms, our accents. Everything is a mimic of watching someone else, and I think that can be really beneficial in business too. So if you're having like a strong reaction positively to someone, where you're like, I love that, I love what they're doing, they would then be my cornerstone for you to go delve into that deeper and go, well, what is it that I love about them? It's the design, it's the quality, is it their website layout, is it, you know, what are their prices like, who is buying from them, you know, and who are they speaking to? Where else are you seeing them market? Because chances are that if it's resonating strongly with you, then it's resonating strongly with people that are going to buy your work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So the next thing that I would actually do is probably go Google I Am Dope, and then Actually, that might turn out some
Yeah.
erroneous things. But Google, add some clarifications there. Like if all they do is T-shirts, then add like I am dope T-shirts, and just kind of seek it out and look at what else is coming up, because a lot of companies, what their marketing people do, especially if they have big marketing budgets, is they look at the other companies that are their competition, and they make sure that those are in their metadata so that it's returning Google results. So it's like, oh, you're looking for Coke, you might also be interested in Pepsi. So this is what they do in order to put themselves in front of other people. So what you might find is that in looking for these guys, you'll find a couple of other companies that you haven't heard of that are also in the same genre that you just haven't been introduced to yet.
Cool.
There's two different ways to go about it. The one is definitely, it's time or money. It's always time or money with business. Either you're going to invest money to have more marketing outreach and having somebody controlling the marketing for you, or you're going to invest a lot of time doing it yourself. You can do either one. It just depends on where your priorities are and what your schedule and what your bank account is like, and which one is more feasible for you to
My bank account sucks. It sounds like time.
Okay. How much time are you willing to put into this? And are you able?
Well, I work 9 to 5. Well, I'm meant to work 9 to 5. I'm working crazy Korean hours at the moment, but I have weekends and a few hours in the evening when I do get home, which I'm more than happy to dedicate to this.
Okay. I would say you're either going to bed an hour later or getting up an hour earlier to give yourself an extra hour, because you need that time to build momentum. It's always coming from a stop and the starting line. You're always slower than once you've picked up speed, so you can always scale those hours back as you go. But it also depends on how much of a priority it is for you to get this off the ground and have the money coming in, and if that's essential. Because there's a difference between it being a priority and it being urgent. I have to make my rent this month is urgent. I have another job that's covering that, like my 9 to 5, so it's not as urgent. Gives you a little more leeway. The problem is that when people have a backup, they tend to go, I'll get to it later.
I understand that.
Yeah, so I'm also a big believer in burning the bridge so that you can't fall back on the other thing. There's a great motivational speaker that I like that talks about success, and he talks about taking this young kid that keeps going, I want to be a millionaire, I want to be a millionaire. Just train me, just teach me. I want to pay you to mentor me. And so he takes him out into the ocean in his designer suit, and this millionaire's in his Tommy Bahamas, and he grabs him and holds his head underwater, and he's flailing and he's splashing and he's kicking around until he pretty much almost stops flailing, and then he lets him up, and the guy's like, you're crazy, why the hell would you do that? And he's like, when you were underwater, what did you want? To breathe, right? What did you need? To breathe. That's it. There was no other thought. You didn't care about being a millionaire. You didn't care about your loved ones. There was no family, no ambition. Nothing else in life mattered except for the fact that you wanted air. When you want success as much as that, when you want anything as much as that, then you will have it. And the problem is that most people don't. They just kind of want it. Like, everybody likes the idea of being successful. Everybody likes the idea of someone sending them $1 million, and being wealthy and having fame and notoriety, but they don't want to put in the work for it. Everyone told me when I started that it would take 10 years before I would be in the black, that it would be 7 to 8 years before I could afford a studio, and it was just all of them going off of experience, and they marvel at the fact that I did it in 2 years. You know why? Because I put in 18 hours a day with my kids on the counter. Like, I would have my daughter at 3 years old in my lap, like drawing on a notebook, big circles, and I would be sitting and editing with one hand and shaking the car seat with the other to keep Steven asleep. Like, that's the kind of dedication that you have to have. If you don't want it that bad, then at best, you're going to have mediocre success. So all that being said, the tough question is it really important to you to have your art on T-shirts? Do you want everybody in Australia walking around with your Duff Beer logo, or is this just a different avenue that you're trying in order to put your art out and bring some income in? How much of a priority is it?
It's a good question. Do I want everyone in Australia wearing my T-shirts? Fucking I had to. Yeah, I reckon that'd be fucking awesome if I was walking around and I just saw my T-shirts everywhere. Like, my head couldn't get any bigger. It'd be fucking just the biggest trip in the world. It'd be epic.
Okay. Are we limited to Australia, or is this a worldwide domination?
Fucking A, worldwide domination. Hell yeah.
Okay. All right. Then you have opened yourself up to needing two different studies of thought, because there's the artist and the one that's creating the images and deciding. Because essentially what you just did was, you went into the print lab, and instead of picking canvas or metal or wall prints and framing, you picked a T-shirt. And I love that, because you know what every person wearing your shirt is? A walking billboard for you.
It's just something I've always thought is really, really weird. And that's one of the things I've always hated about T-shirts is when I was a kid, I used to surf. And in Australia, there's some brands like Rip Curl and Billabong and Rusty that were really big and used to pay fuck tons of money for one of these T-shirts or board shorts that had their logo on it. And then you'd be cool at school, and I'd be like, this is so fucking retarded that I'm paying them money so I can advertise their fucking logo everywhere. And then other kids see it, and they're like, they want that fucking, that Rip Curl shirt, and they pay a fuck ton of money. I'm like, why the fuck am I paying all this money to advertise someone else's shit? They should be fucking paying me. And this is one of the things I was really passionate about, making my own shirts. If I can get other people to pay me money to wear my shirts and advertise, that's fucking epic.
Yes, and that's branding. So there's a difference between branding and marketing. Those companies have mastered branding. Now your brand is you, because you're an artist. So the same way that they're wearing Billabong and they're wearing Abercrombie and Fitch and they're wearing, Versace, depending on who they are, there's also the people that will wear to the red carpet solely because of the designer's name. So essentially you've become a designer, it's just that you're doing it with artistry and the print. So they don't want to wear the company, they want to wear you.
Chanel.
Yeah.
Chanel. This collar is designed off Lagerfeld. I've been hassling my friends in fashion for the longest fucking time going, Karl Lagerfeld has the coolest fucking collars. I hate Chanel. Fuck Chanel. The designs are shit. But Karl Lagerfeld is the most stylish motherfucker in the world. And I've been hassling them for years to get a collar like this. So last trip to Korea, I finally got my Karl Lagerfeld collar made up into a shirt. And everyone's like disgust. And I fucking love this shirt so much now. I think it's the hottest thing in the world.
So what are people going to say with that kind of enthusiasm about your T-shirts?
They're going to say we want to give this guy thousands of dollars so he can wear his fucking epically hot T-shirts.
Epically hot isn't enough. I need more words. But that's good, and that could totally be your marketing thing, but you need better word association. And here's the thing is that you can't use any word that the opposite of it is negative. Like you can't say it's a really good T-shirt, because that implies that anybody else is making a bad T-shirt, and no other company is going, we make bad T-shirts for those of you that don't value yourselves. So when people are like, we do this a lot with photography, and you hear it all the time, like, oh, I'm really passionate as an artist. That's why you want to come to me, because I'm passionate about it. Right, because all the other photographers that are competing for the business, they're boring with it. They're not interested in it at all. And so they're like, well, I'm really creative. Duh. You're an artist. We got that. Let's move on. What else you got? And so it gets really difficult when you start breaking down to more. Now, sexy is one of those words that can be both, because there are people like sexy most people in our generation and down will go, hell yeah, I want to look hot and sexy. My 85-year-old grandmother, she's probably not shopping in the sexy department. We hope she isn't. I love her, but, you know, you just stay over there with your sweaters. I'm good with that, you know. So sexy is one of those words that'll play with both, because there are people that want to be perceived as sexy and desirable and provocative, and people that aren't, that may lean more towards sophisticated and chic or conservative. So I think having a list of those words and kind of just breaking down what the word association with you and your art is will help. Like, I would go with controversial for you, because you are always pushing limitations. You want it to offend some people, you know, and there's going to be plenty of people like that t-shirt. Oh my gosh, if I walked in my grandmother's house wearing your t-shirt, I would be disowned. She would never make me meatballs again, ever. You know?
You're just going to wear it right. You just need a scarf and a jacket over the top and you're rocking.
Yeah. So, but I would wear it everywhere else, you know? So I like that you will push those boundaries too, because I think that you have enough self-confidence as well that if people are harping on it and going, oh, this work's really trashy, or we don't like it, it's, you know, it's subpar, whatever, and they're having a visceral reaction to it negatively, I totally see your work being the kind of work that gets people in an uproar one way or another, because you like to push the boundaries. Your defining image was a couple walking down the street with his hand on some other girl's ass, you know, and everybody was like, nobody knew quite what to make of that when you first came in, and it was interesting to watch, because I saw it and I was like, oh, this is going to be good. Like, I was making popcorn to watch the comments. And I like that element. So as long as you can keep a thick skin with that and take it with a grain of salt, the people that hate you are probably going to do as much marketing for you as the people that love you. And the thing is that even though you are like the people around you, now with social media, your circle branches out so far that somebody else shares this and is like, this is shit. This is exactly what's wrong with fashion today, yada, yada, yada. I hate this guy. But somebody else is going to see it on their wall, and they're going to be like, what's he talking about? Let me go see what that's about. And they're going to be like, oh, my God. And then they're going to tag somebody else and be like, hey, sister-in-law, you would love this shirt. And so it's spider webs out. The problem is that everybody has this, like, politician mentality where they're trying to keep everybody happy, or at least have no negative comments. It's a politician mentality of, let me give the answer that will offend the least people and keep everybody neutral, if not happy, you know. And it's the opposite. Like, the best article, the best blog I ever wrote for F-Stop Lounge was the one where I called it the worst boudoir photographer ever, because everybody wanted to go hate on that photographer. And other people wanted to go hate on me for attacking a bad photographer. Half the people did not read it and see that all of those really terrible, sucky images were mine from my first shoot, because I just talked about it in the third person and ripped this girl to shreds. And they were like, you're a horrible person. You're supposed to be a mentor. And other people were like, thank you so much for outing everything that's wrong with this industry. And I was like, I know, right? And so it was really funny, and they're like, those people will never make it. And I was like, yeah, fuck those guys. And so they had no idea. But it was interesting that having a negative connotation pushes further in social media than positive does. So I actually think that images like the Duff Beer one that are designed to cause controversy, because that's one of the ones that I guarantee you, if you put it on Facebook, it'll be reported for nudity in less than 3 minutes. Yeah, even though, you know, and so it's one of those things where, like, and if I remember properly, she is topless, so you would have to, like, put your logo right over the nipple, because as long as the nipple's not in, it's safe.
Oh, not my mentor.
Okay. Hey guys.
Jesus.
Hi Jessica.
How are you?
Good. I'm good.
I'm so in love with your accent right now.
I'm trying to lose it.
No, don't. It's distinguished. I like it. Okay.
That was the second sample I made where I cropped it below the nipples for, I don't know, to see how it would turn out, which I didn't like it as much as the full one. But yeah, there's always options like that. I thought about putting like a logo over the nipples and shit to make it kind of safe for work, so everyone could click on this in their office and look at it and not have to worry about any ramifications, that sort of thing.
I don't know how many offices are approving of that either.
But you can't see, there's no nipple. It's totally cool. And then there was the whole, there was the Instagram thing, which I don't use Instagram, so I don't know too much about it, but I think Instagram was banning women's chests or nipples, so they started posting or pasting men's nipples on in place of theirs, which I thought was really cool. And I thought I could do that on my shirt, have men's nipples instead of the women's or models' nipples.
Well, and that's a really good feature too when you're thinking about marketing with that. Like I would do a blog post or like a social media release with them side by side and go and just ask people. Like, don't ask them to buy, don't sell, because then people move right past it. As soon as they say for sale, you have become spam. But if you posted that one and posted the original and the not original and said opinions, free the nipple or no, you know, with both of them, and had it, now here's the thing, here's how you get away with it. You cannot upload a photo with a nipple to most social media sites. However, you could put it on a blog or on what is it? Is it Tumblr that'll let you do it? Yeah. Put it on one of those and then link to it, and when you put the link, Facebook puts the sample photo up, like the promo photo, so they will still see it, but you can't get your account deleted over it. Does that make sense?
Kinda, but I thought if you had like male nipples, it was cool.
It's more, that whole thing is the argument that male nipples look exactly like female nipples if you know, cut them out, and so what's the big deal? But no, pretty much if it's a naked girl, unless it's very, very obvious that it's cut and pasted over it and you're saying that, and even then sometimes it just depends on who the moderator is.
Wow.
But going back to what you did with the two t-shirts, I would take pictures of them side by side with it cropped without it and with it and say, you know, I want to free the nipple. Would you wear this shirt? Yes or no? And I would give one away. Like when we hit 500 or 2,000, you know, and do something along those lines for them sharing it. Like I'm looking for 5,000 people. If I get 5,000 likes, I'll free the nipple, essentially.
So I need two models, and I need something really controversial, like a church or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's one by me that I've been thinking about doing, and I haven't yet just because I've been busy, but I like the controversial art. By me, there is a really old church full of really old-minded people, and in the front of it is like a graveyard with like all the really old like soapstone kind of headstones, and then there's this huge headstone that's probably about like this wide, and it's like black granite, so it stands out like a sore thumb because it's polished and it's black in the middle of all these old, like, you know, like haunted cemetery style headstones. And when you get up to it, it says, in memory of all the children killed by abortion. Right? So all I want to do the last 2 years is go take a maternity girl and lay her across the headstone and take a picture of it and watch people feed and not put any other connotation and see who thinks it's pro-life and pro-choice. And, you know, any time that you can cause an emotional reaction, you have succeeded in your art. I don't care if you make me angry. I don't care if you make me cry. I don't care if you make me laugh. As long as you are causing an intense emotional reaction, that is the content that starts to go viral and starts to get people talking, and that is brilliant from a branding and a marketing perspective. So it's one of those things where people will get offended or people will be supportive, and then people will get offended and be supportive about whether or not you can offend or support them. You know, like some people are like, well, I don't really care about this particular topic. It's not a hot button issue for me, but I'm all about free speech, or I'm all about, you know, taking down the false standards of beauty we have, or, you know, whatever it is. Like, people get intense about being intense. Like, it's just the way that our minds work now with the social age. So for you, offering this controversial art to begin with, because it's just in your nature, I've never seen a picture that doesn't push some boundary for you. That's who you are as an artist. It would make sense that your marketing plan would gravitate towards that and be more of a guerrilla marketing, grassroots kind of thing, especially because I think the kind of people that you're appealing to, we were talking before, are more likely to buy your shirt from, say, a music festival, an art festival, or a hipster kind of store than be in, you know, like a mainline department store kind of thing. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking about the shoot I'd do to cause the most controversy. Yeah, that's cool.
I want you to know that neither I nor the Arcanum is liable if you get arrested.
You know, this has been recorded, like Google has this recorded now, so what you just said is all over the Google webs.
Yep.
Jess told me to do it. She made me do it. She held me down and twisted my arm.
Listen.
It's a good idea. Yeah, I like it.
So I think your first steps, and this may be something that you and I have another hangout, because if this is really where you want to push it and you want to create wearable art and that's the direction that you're going in, then I would imagine that we could probably shift some of your Sphere 1 levels to cater to that and the accomplishing of that rather than the broader sense that they are now. I like once people start going, I want to accomplish this thing. I would set a manageable goal with it. Like, I want to sell 250 t-shirts by the end of the year. Something else to consider is that when people are thinking of apparel, they usually think in terms of quantity, even if it is quality. You know, like, they want them in every store. They want, and we just said that, like, you want everyone in Australia wearing them or everybody in the world. But it also might be interesting for you to treat fashion as a fine artist and offer the clothes in limited edition series. So there's a bunch of fine artists that they create a new piece of work and they sell them as a limited edition series, and when you buy one, it's like number 7 out of 250, and after those 250 sold, they are never sold in that size, in that medium again. Now, certain friends of mine will do it, like they'll have that one print and they'll go, there are 10 of them available in 5x5 and 10 of them available in 10x10 and 5 of them available in 25x25. And so there's smaller series within the larger piece of work. You might be able to do the same thing where, you know, say the one with the crop that's a little more, I don't know if I would call it family friendly, but it's a little more socially acceptable.
Friendly. I love that description, family friendly.
See, and I would totally play on that because that would anger a lot of moms. Like, this is not family friendly. But I'll tell you what, when you get one done, if you get a smaller one done and send it, I will totally photograph my son wearing that shirt and send it to you for marketing.
Wearing the family friendly version.
Yeah, like little 8-year-old, like family friendly with the Duff beer with the naked girl. Absolutely. Because it's designed.
I think you would cop a lot of stick for that.
I know, but it would totally be worth it. That's how dedicated I am to the success of my apprentices.
Epic. Cool.
And totally, when he graduates high school and they ask me to send a photo of him as a child for then and now, that would be the one that I would send.
That's actually really cool. His 21st in that shirt when he was a kid. Coolest fucking kid ever.
Yeah,
unfortunately, he doesn't realize how cool he is at the time. Sure.
But I would consider I would consider still selling like an artist and maybe offering like a limited edition print run of t-shirts, regardless of whether it's on a t-shirt or canvas, being like, there's only 1,000 of these that are ever being sold. Then it starts to justify why the price is higher, why they should buy that t-shirt as opposed to any of the other t-shirts that are similar quality and along the same lines of style and controversy and whatever else is fueling them to buy it. The other thing that that does is that pushes them to buy it now before there aren't any more and they can't get it. So I might be inclined to do that, and then maybe let's say we sold 1,000 copies of the cropped one and only 10 of the ones that are uncensored with the Free the Nipple movement. You know, and there are people right now, because that's a hot button issue, that are just searching for that hashtag. So you would be coming up on, I don't know how many other people that would buy it just because they're all about freeing the nipple, and they would buy it because that cause is something of value to them, and you're exemplifying that. So as soon as you start tapping into the emotional responses of people and what's emotionally fueling them, it makes it a lot easier to sell to them.
Yeah, you're not really selling. You're just putting them in touch with an idea or something that they can connect with.
You're actually giving them tools to help further the cause, because that's why we choose clothes, right? Like it's a sense of fashion expression. Whether that expression is, I feel like being in my pajamas and super comfortable today, or I want to look sexy in my new collared shirt, or you know, or I want to just offend as many people as possible walking down the street. You know, there's different things that fuel them, but clothes are chosen with a form of expression, you know, and we wear different clothes depending on where we are and what we're doing and who we're hanging out with. So, you know, that shirt might make, you know, the birthday party, the bar, the beach, that kind of stuff, but going into a Fortune 500 company for the job, I would probably hire the person that had the balls to wear that into the meeting, but most other executives might go, that might not be what we're looking for. So I like the idea of you having sort of like a cropped or censored version that is a little bit more, you know, PG-13 to R, and then having the X ones and selling them in a very limited edition quantity where they can buy them from you, and they should be the best materials that you can use, and they should be signed by the artist.
I really hate this though. Like when I got this, like, because this is the second shirt I made, and the first one I fell in love with straight away. I was like, oh my god, it's so fucking hot. I'm gonna wear this every day along with my blue striped jacket. And then I got this one made, and I was like, fucking sucks. It's just not the same. The crop version, it's just, to me, it's just shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that brings a really important question too of, are you catering to your clients or to yourself?
I think it's to myself. It's what I like, and I'm making other people. You're gonna buy the shit that I like. I don't give a fuck about what you like. You're gonna buy what I fucking like.
Okay, that's a great mentality as an artist. It's a terrible mentality as a business.
Yeah.
So, but not necessarily, because it depends on the business market. So if we did some market research and you found out, let's say that we were going to sell both of them for the same exact price at $25, and you found out that 3,000 people were willing to buy the cropped version and 10 were willing to buy the uncropped version, would you want to sell the cropped version in order to bring in that revenue and have your shirts on 3,000 people?
I'd totally fucking sell it in a second. We'll go, fuck it. You know what? They want it. Fucking take it. All right, I'll print these pieces of shit. You can eat it.
So it's this may be the best thing that you can do to get started. I would take that shirt, I would photograph both of them, and without saying a word, I would put them online and go, A or B, which are you more likely to buy and why? And because people love giving their opinions. It's not available for sale yet. I'm just doing some research. A or B. And some people will just give you A, B, A, B. Other people will be like, A, I'm not wearing that kind of stuff, and that's offensive, and you're walking by children, yada yada. Okay, bye. Sorry. Hopefully, when you come back, I'll give you some one-on-one time.
Sure, shouldn't take long. I mean, hopefully not more than 15 minutes or so.
Okay, sounds good. I'll check in with you when you get back.
Okay.
Okay. So I would do that, and one, just see what the people want, and see if it's leaning one way or the other. You may find that the people are in line with you, and they're like, "That shit, I want the full version. Like, you know, it's way better." Which I would be inclined to say that in that realm too. Again, if you find that they're leaning towards yours, then you have the option of not selling to any of the people that want the cropped version. Or again, you have the option of selling the cropped version and selling the uncropped version as a limited artist edition for a fuck ton more money.
I guess one of the issues with that is I don't really have a very big online social presence or footprint. So, and a lot of the people are just friends and stuff. So probably not people that would buy my stuff. So I don't have a wider audience based on my photography.
Send me a photo. I'll post it on my Facebook. I have like 1,500 followers, so.
You can't post my photos on Facebook. You'll get banned.
So post it.
We do it all the time.
Post it. Do you have a Tumblr or a blog? Okay. So I think that with your style work, that this is going to become essential for you to have somewhere that you can link to, so that the photo will still come up as a link, but it's not directly posted to their servers.
I got Flickr, which doesn't give a fuck about porn.
That's perfect then. Then use Flickr, upload it to Flickr, and what I would do is I would take a shot of each and I would stitch them together so that they're in one shot, even though they're separate photos. It's one image, and I would upload that, and then I would include the link to that so that it's like flickr.com/whatever. Yeah, exactly. Right down the middle.
Okay.
Yeah. I would post it, and I would ask people to like and to share. It's amazing what people will do if you just ask, especially if they're your friends. And drop me a line too. Tag me in it, because I'll put it out to my people too. Because I think we're crossing close to 30,000 across the different social mediums now, and there's some overlap with people following on multiple things. But you know, people like to give opinions. They really do. And you know, if you have a couple of people share that and give you feedback, you know, you'll be able to just kind of keep track and see. Because if you don't know what they want, you can't give it to them. And then, so just do it just with the intention of information gathering right now and seeing, would people rather have the cropped version or not? And then if we see that it's overwhelmingly one way or the other, then you get to make the decision, well, fuck it, I'm an artist and I'm not selling you anything that I'm not proud to put my name on. Or, no, I'll sell out if all of you are going to buy a t-shirt and I'm going to sell 3,000 of them for $50 each in the next 24 hours. I'm okay with that. I will wipe away the tears of my sorrow and selling
with
my
the cash
with $100 bills,
exactly.
And I will get over it. You know, and I'm fine with either one.
Yeah,
so
totally.
I don't believe for a second in selling out unless what you're doing causes you to lose sleep at night. If you're happy with the decision and you're saying the money that I'm gaining from this is worth more to me than my artist statement on this specific image, then that's you just making a choice. It really is. And you get to determine what the priorities are and what the value of each side is for you and make that choice. And nobody else gets to say, they will say lots of words about it, but nobody else walks your path. So whatever the end result is for you to decide. Right now, my job is to help you find the information, look at it all, and then have all of that so that you can make an educated decision one way or the other. Because right now we just don't know. So right now, I think the best things for you to do are to research other companies that are selling similar kind of images, and just
I've tried that, and there's not many. Like I've done so much searching for like people. So apart from Yoni, the photographer I was talking about, who was making these shirts, it was like 10 years ago, and I think they probably did something similar. And that was one of the things that inspired me to start thinking about this. Was I really loved the shirt that I've got, and I wanted to get more, but it was limited, and you can't get more. So once they were done, that was it. And there's maybe a handful on eBay that you can purchase, but after that, you're fucked. Like, there's no more of these shirts. They're not making any more of these things. And I like that idea. And I was thinking that the 55 that I get printed off now, I'll probably never do again. I'll give away some to some friends that I think, have got that sort of presence and will be a walking billboard and help me out in that sense, and that they really like the designs. And the others I would like sell and kind of like not want to, because it's so print to me and stuff, because I don't really want to do this again with this print.
Okay.
I'd like to move on to something else. I do think that's a really good idea, keeping them quite limited and special, and especially this print, because it is going to be really controversial, and there's no way in fucking hell I'd sell this online, because I'm begging for a lawsuit. I'm begging to be sued, basically, by putting this online for sale. But I think it's a great billboard, like a stepping stone, to kind of start the business, get my name out there, and possibly the right places.
Okay, so let me give some tough love too and ask you, when's the last time that you stopped someone on the street to ask them where they got their clothes?
The last time I stopped someone on the street to ask them where they got their clothes, maybe I haven't. I've seen someone and I've gone, holy fucking shit, that's hot. I need to find where they got that.
Okay. Now, let's assume that people are having that reaction and walking by and going, holy hell, I love that shirt. I have to find it. How do they find it then if they don't stop and ask your friends? If you're not selling it online and they can't look it up, how would they get that information then?
I guess the web, which is what I did. Yeah, like I did that with Carl's collars. I was like, where the fuck is this guy getting his collars from? Because they're fucking hot. He's not making them for Chanel. And I spent ages Googling Carl and like, where the fuck are these collars coming from? And then I found some link which led me to some video, which is a documentary. In the first fucking 5 minutes, the prick has got like a drawer full of these fucking detachable collars. I had no idea they're fucking detachable. I'm like, you prick, you've got a drawer full of these only for yourself. And I was looking for the designer that was making his shirts, thinking it's probably him, but he just does it for himself. But no, he's just got a drawer full of his own fucking collars. But that took me a long time to research and find where Karl Lagerfeld's collars.
Okay, so you have to realize that most people, 90% of the people that saw those collars and were like, ooh, I want that, probably gave up somewhere along. It takes someone with your kind of, I have to have it, in order to find it. And that's the other thing, is that if you're not going to sell them online, are these going to be online somewhere where people can look for it? How are they going to find
them? I'm totally cool with showing them, but there's no way I can attach the dollar value to these shirts online. Like I like the market idea. So the music festival, I think I can get away with going to markets. I can probably do. But if I put these online and they took off all of a sudden, there was like, some hashtag trending with darn shirts, I'd be royally screwed in the ass with sandpaper and no lube.
So it may be a prudent decision in the future to consider how we can continue causing controversy without even skirting on the idea of infringing copyright. Same thing, and I don't want to preach too hard because everybody's gotten the spiel, but what if somebody took your images and then was putting them on something else and selling them on behalf of you?
I guess in this particular case with this image, then they'd have to deal with Fox Studios. Like, good on them.
Well, no, just in general, like any of your images that you've ever taken, like we're artists, this is how we make our living, and we're always, talked to about the starving artist cliche. So when somebody is infringing on that and what we created and then using that to profit, it's a little different with yours because yours isn't, it's copyright. I don't even know if it's considered copyright infringement as much as like trademark kind of stuff, because it's just you having a brand. But I know that I've had friends that do product and macro photography that have gotten takedown notices and very angry messages from lawyers going, you don't represent our brand, our company, you cannot use our logo, kind of thing. So so I would consider that very heavily in the future. That said,
I agree.
you know, aside from the mandatory don't copyright infringe talk, at the same time, I think I would be inclined to keep these shirts and hold them hostage for an obscene amount of money as a limited edition, as the first shirt Darn did before he realized that, you know, he was a lawsuit waiting to happen. Because at that point, when they're buying them for $10,000 and $15,000 or $50,000 because it's one of the originals from that amazing artist that does all the killer T-shirts, if they come after you, you'll be like, here, go away. You know, like all big companies do. Here's your cash. Off with it. You know. So, summation. I want you to look up some of the companies that are selling and where they're selling, and see if you can find other artists. And just the best thing for you to do is think, if I saw someone wearing this shirt and I was like, that's a really hot shirt, I have to find it. Same thing you did with the collars. Where would I go looking for it? 95% of people are going to go online first to narrow it down and then go from there. So what would you be typing into the Google search bar? What sites would you be going to?
Porn T-shirts, XXX T-shirts, Duff Beer T-shirts. I did all this. I've I've spent the past couple of weeks typing in this shit, trying to find other companies to do similar stuff. And I've probably found one company and one other shirt style that's kind of similar. All the others are really fucking shit, like lame companies that like, oh, we're going to print the word porn on a T-shirt, or have some cartoon character that has kind of got nipples and it's fucking god awful. Like, it's terrible. Like, you can tell they don't want to get like too controversial, so it's really lame. But you type in, graphic porn tees or naked girl on a T-shirt, and you just get this god awful, terrible shit that returns in the. Actually, I Am Dope came from. I typed in Spring Breakers. So Spring Breakers is this really cool Harmony Korine flick from a couple of years ago that I absolutely fucking love, about spring break and these girls that run around killing people, I guess, on spring break. And I thought, oh, you know what? I reckon that movie would make a cool T-shirt. So I typed in Spring Breakers, and lo and behold, some cool T-shirt company has made T-shirts out of this movie. So kind of like the idea I had was, I could do Spring Breakers on a T-shirt. Someone else had done it already. And then I got to their site, I Am Dope, and I'm like, they got all these other fucking really cool T-shirts. It was the first time I'd typed in something that wasn't around porn T-shirt, naked girl T-shirt, like just to do the generic. Good. It was very specific to find that. But I don't know how you'd come across it. I don't know how you'd stumble across this company's shirts just by accident, by typing in random generic shit. Because there's so much generic random shit.
It's probably a photo thing. Like, I would think Pinterest would probably be a really good one for them, where people are going and finding it in someone.
Pinterest don't like the nipple.
They.
It's not even the nipple. They don't like suggestive shit.
Yeah, they are pretty conservative.
Yeah, totally conservative. They're Christian as fuck. Like, I've got some things like, oh, this girl's got like some leather, and it's like, you know, it's a bikini leather bottom. Better take that down. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it depends on who the moderator is, but still, in the same regard, like the shirts that are more PG-13 kind of stuff, those will probably get pinned and shared. Like, it's all social media now. Somebody shares it, somebody else likes it, and then, you know, you see posts all the time with the photos and videos that have hundreds of thousands of views and comments and plays, and that's what you're looking for. The best way to do that is to cause an emotional reaction in everyone that sees it. So either everyone that sees it has to go, that's awesome, or, oh my God. Those are the two reactions that get shares, because they want either other people to be offended with them and they want to rouse the entire town to grab their pitchforks, or they want to share it and they tag 3 people and go, oh my God, so-and-so would love this. So that's the reaction that you're looking for. I think that shirt is a good one, but I also think that you're drawing attention based on brand infringement and copyright, which could get you into hot water. Because once you're on their radar, you will stay on their radar. And if they were smart, if I was running a company like that, I would be paying attention to those things and going, well, he's not selling anything. Let's just keep an eye on him. And as soon as it does go up for sale, then you would get slapped with it.
Which is why I wouldn't sell it online.
Yeah. So I would be doing continued research. I would be doing some more research into I Am Dope and seeing where their fan base is and where else they could be found. If they have social media, what other sites they're on. Are they on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, like all of those, looking to see where they are. And I would be paying attention to how their client base is interacting with them, because it sounds like they resonate with you a lot and are probably the closest thing you found to what you're doing. So paying attention to how they're reaching out to their market and how their market is responding as a result of that will teach a lot about how to do the same thing with, you know, more of a darn kind of flair. I think your prices are fine. I'm okay with where you want to start there. Yeah.
Cool.
I think that you could, if you made 55 is kind of, is there a specific reason we chose that number? Is that like something to do with the printing, or that's just the number you pulled up?
Yeah, that was a small, like one of the smallest runs they would do. It was 50,
okay.
And with the fabric, we've got it end up being 55.
Do you definitely only want to do this one print to start?
Yeah, I love this print so much. I'm like, yeah, I know if I get it out there and I don't sell it online, I could definitely sell it privately easily. I just need that
okay.
that presence so people see it. I fucking love it because it's fucking hot.
Okay, so let's say all 55 of them sold in 24 hours after you got them done. What's next?
Do the next shoot. Think of the next design to slap on a shirt.
Okay, so do none of the other images you have in your portfolio qualify for you?
Nah, they don't work on a shirt. Like there's images that I love, but there's certain images that would look really good on a shirt. And like if it's too busy, like that one with the ass. There's like, the background and like there's a park and there's a beach and shit. And it looks like you're putting a picture on a shirt, which is kind of shit, like looks like you're specifically pasting this thing on top of a shirt, whereas the duck beer thing just kind of naturally works. And the way the girl's positioned, her pose and stuff, the way it's elongated on the body, it looks so good, I had my friends like touching me. Like they were trying to touch her and they were touching my body because the way she's shaped, it's like, yeah, it just works. It's awesome. It's beautiful.
Do you have other ideas of mine for what the next shirt images would be?
I'm struggling with that because I was like, you just got to do something that's like sex sells, right? So just do something smutty as fuck. But I'm like, then it's kind of boring. It doesn't have a story, and that's kind of, to me, that's kind of selling out. It's like, let's do some naked girl and in some provocative pose, and that would probably sell.
So I think that you should have at least 3 to 5 other shots at least worked out in your head to be done before you start putting this on the market. Because if you want to know the one thing that kills people faster, the reason they have 15 minutes of fame and not 15 years is because they get their 15 minutes of fame for what they already have, and then all of the notoriety and the people paying attention pass because you have to step out of the spotlight to go build the next product. So it better be the kind of thing that when people come and go, oh my God, I love that shirt, you go, great. If you love that shirt, then you'll love this one too. Like when you go into bookstores or on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, the first thing it does is it goes, people who bought this also like this, this, and this. So, and most of the time it does. Would you like to bundle that? Yeah, hell yeah, I would. I'm going to buy them for $33 a piece. Well, you can get 4 for $100 if you buy this whole collection because it's part of a series kind of thing, you know? So I would be putting energy into that before I started putting energy into selling, because what's the point of having all this notoriety of people paying attention if you don't have a product for them to buy?
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point.
So I would like to see that, and if you're asking me my preference as far as how to get the most bang for your buck, what I would do is I would have a list of what the costs are, what the edition is that you want to sell them in. If you're going to sell them in limited quantities, like once the shirt is gone, it's gone, we don't do another reprint kind of thing. And I would do those quantities by size too. So it may be that you sell 100 shirts, or it may be that you sell, 50 small, 50 medium, 50 large, 50 with a V-neck, whatever it is. Take into consideration what options you're going to offer for the shirt, and then pick a series number for that. And when it's gone, it's gone. That allows you to up the price more so that you're getting more profit per piece, because you're selling it as art, not as clothes then. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then what I would say is have sketches, have composites, have something that explains the concept of the next couple of shirts, and I would do it as a Kickstarter. And I bet you would put a ton of money in your pocket to be able to finance the shoots and the next images. Or I would look at getting on Patreon. Like, I'm on Patreon for the Reliquarium project. Half of the people that support the project are other apprentices and people in the Arcanum, but every single month on the first of the month, I get over $400 deposited into my bank account from people that think that what I do is awesome and they just want to see the next piece. And they like helping out and doing that. So it's the kind of thing that you could set it up and go, I do these epic art t-shirts, and if you support it, every month I pick a random Patreon to send a t-shirt to that's donating more than $30 or $25 a month, and then that way you have residual income coming in every month. If you, pay $1,500 over the course of the year or whatever that comes out to, $1,200. If you're sponsoring at $100 a month for future shoots, you'll get one of the limited edition ones signed by me from the first print run of 55. That way you're never actually selling that shirt. Does that make sense?
No.
Where'd I lose you?
You lost me a while ago. You put something into my head, and I don't know why. But I was wondering if this idea would work. So I was talking about the designs that would and wouldn't work, and for some reason you gave me this idea about this Tuscany image I've had in my head for a long time. I just don't know if it would work on a shirt, but I really love the concept, and I think it's really relevant now in Australia, not so much in America because you got gay rights sorted out and shit, but it's kind of fucked over here. But I just don't know if it'd work on a shirt. But I've been wanting to shoot this. Tuscany's got this great photo that he did for the United Colors of Benetton back in late 90s of a guy and a girl kissing. And it was really controversial at the time because the guy was dressed as a priest and the girl was dressed as a nun. So it's like totally fucked up and caused a lot of controversy. And I always loved the idea.
I saw this.
Yeah, I love that picture.
Yeah,
I love that picture because it's just a guy and a girl, but you dress them a certain way, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, it's the most fucked up shit in the world. And I've always wanted to redo that photo and make it relevant for 2015 by having two priests kissing. Like, I need to get the exact same hat, it's got to be the same pose and the same styling, the same lighting, everything in the studio, but just have two priests kissing, like two guys kissing. Yeah, but I was like, for some reason when you were talking then, I was thinking, would that work on the shirt? And that goes back to my idea, that's kind of when you stick a picture on a shirt and it becomes it really does become like a picture on a shirt as opposed to I think of this image is it's just so natural and fluid and it fits that shirt. I don't know if that picture to the Tuscany tribute would work on a shirt as much as I love it. I think you lost me a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. We're paying attention at all. Okay, well, you can go back on the rewatch and listen again, and if it resonates, I'll give you some more information and send you some links, and we can work on there. But it sounds to me that this is exactly what crowdsourcing was made for, was for these sort of grassroots artist efforts. You know, when I did the hardcover book, I made $7,000 in 6 days towards.
You don't need a strong social presence already, though, to start that?
I don't think so.
What about video editing skills?
No, like if you go back, look up, just Google like JLark Kickstarter, and it'll probably bring it up still in the archives. I turned my phone on and set it on the table and just sat and talked for 4 minutes. Like I was just like, "Hi guys, this is what I'm doing and where I'm at." And you know, would you like to? Bye, Ray. Ray, I want to set up some time with you to one-on-one before you go.
Sure.
What's your schedule like?
Probably free most of the week this week.
Okay. I have total availability on Thursday, and you can go and book any time slot that works. I do have some more time today if you're free later.
Well, it's midnight here, so depends on what time you're talking about later.
How's like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow for you?
For me, fine, yeah.
Okay. Drop me a line when you're up and moving in the morning then, since it's midnight, because my last one is at 7:30, and then I was gonna hang out with JLark again from like 8 to 9. But I wanna set up some time to talk about Sphere 2 with you. So just just ping me whenever you're up and moving.
Okay.
All right. I'll talk to you soon. Good
Okay,
night,
bye.
Ray.
Later.
No, I don't think that you need a really strong following, and you don't need anything really impressive. Like, you just need to have a message that resonates. So I would be thinking about what that is. To me, it sounds like right now, like, we know you're controversial. Everyone in JLark would agree with that. You like to push boundaries, which is good because that'll resonate with people that like to push boundaries, and that will repel people that are more conservative and don't like to be pushed outside their comfort zones, which will still have them talking about you, because the worst thing somebody can say about you is nothing. You know, so I think if you looked at it, and that's why I like Patreon too, because Kickstarter, you set a goal. Like most of the like GoFundMe, those kind of things, like you set a goal and you say, I'm trying to raise this much money, and then people go in and they make a one-time donation. With Patreon, it's a monthly donation. So it's sort of like putting out your hat on the street as a like street musician and having people like throw change into your hat or your guitar case. So it's just like a monthly tip jar, and it's basically them going, I love what you're doing, I'd like to support it. And it just allows them to keep throwing in money, and you can set rewards for that. Like if you're at $30, you're going to get one of the t-shirts. If you're at $100, you know, we're going to send you this. You know, if you're at $400, you know, you can help come up with the concept for the next t-shirt. You know, we'll send you. And so they get things as a result, but rather than just buying a t-shirt, they can continue to support you monthly. So I have it like with the Reliquarian, if they're donating more than $100 a month for the entire year, I do portraits of Patreons, and I'll have them come in, and I will create one image that's like a big fine art image with like the epic set and hair and makeup and everything else, and we build a concept together. So they do that for a year, and in the meantime, every month now, I have steady income coming in. So if I don't make anything, if I just closed shop, I would still have $500 a month coming in just from Patreon that's financing the Reliquarian project, which is awesome when it comes time to go spend $500 on artificial flowers.
You can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can spend $500 on artificial flowers.
I spent $1,800 for the next shoot that I'm working on. I literally bought out. We have a picture of it somewhere. All the little cones that they have them all in, they were empty. We bought them all.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, but things like your model and, you know, the t-shirt costs and your sets and studios and stuff like that, having that broken down into costs, and you go, when we hit this point, when you guys are financing at this level, we can do the next t-shirt. You know, and here's the concept for it. And the more they like the concept, they'll throw extra money towards it. And some of my people go up and down. Like, they'll be at $50 one month just to push me over that bar, because like the floating table shoot that I did for the Reliquarian, I set that at $500 to do the tea party with Deception. And so a lot of people changed it and upped the amount that they were donating to get me over that hurdle so that we could do that shoot, and then went back down to like $5 or $10 a month. So, you know, it gives your fans a way to be supportive of you, and they love doing that because a lot of them resonate with you because they're not creative in themselves, and you say what they can't say. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right, I have about half an hour before I have to go hop in my next meeting. Who else wants to chat? Because I've been loving on Darm for like an hour now.
You can keep loving on me.
Hi, John.
I'd like to give a... Hi, how you doing? I'd like to give them a couple of suggestions. I worked on a branding campaign for Alien t-shirts, and they packed every single shirt in a nice little small box, and they had a lot of branding and stuff. And the other thing is slip in a certificate of authenticity with every shirt, something they can't get from a big company if they try to rip them off and stuff like that. And on pricing, another possible thing that I've seen work quite well is the first 25 go at whatever price, $30. The next $25 more, and the next 25 is $5 more, and then that way you have it kind of, you know, if that takes off and people will pay $500, well, you're going to get up to $500 for it. So you kind of you limit your grouping by how much people will pay for it.
I like the packaging idea a lot. I've thought about that because I had this idea ages ago. Like, I don't know if this is the same the world over, but in Australia, when you buy meat from the supermarket, it comes in this like little styrofoam tray with like your plastic wrap, or Glad wrap we call it in Australia, over the top, and then you've got your little label. And I was like, it'd be so cool to sell shirts like in as if it's like this supermarket consumable in the same packaging that would resonate so well in Australia. But I was like, I don't know if that's actually the world over. If you know everyone else has the same meat style packaging and stuff. But I do like that packaging idea, making it very specific and very tailored. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I take it as well. I like the idea of the pricing tiers on the prints as well. Because again, it causes a buy it now lever where everyone will want to buy it immediately every time it comes out so that they get the lower cost and an earlier number in the series. But it also makes it worth more, and then you can structure how much you'll actually get for that. So, yeah, that's the good ideas, John.
Yeah, if you got a collector, they'll buy real quick that way.
Yeah.
How about the rest of you? How are you guys doing with business and marketing, and what's plaguing you?
Well, me, I've been climbing around in the bristle cones. I've been climbing around 11,000 feet in the mountains. So I come home for a week on my long trip, and after a week, 2 fires, 2 major storms, and I mean, I was just outside of the evacuation area for one of the fires, and I just said, you know, I need to go for a shoot. So I went up to the bristle cones and spent a couple of days up there, and I guess 3 days. And of course it rained almost the whole time, but I did get a few shots in, and so that felt good. And then I went down to Mammoth and did a couple of hot springs and relaxed, and come home, and I'm ready to go. So that's how I clear my head as a shoot.
I think most artists do that. I think it's very zen for most of us.
Yeah.
Hi, Hugo.
Hey.
How are you? What is new and wonderful in your world?
What is new and wonderful? I don't know. I'm actually really looking forward to my next trip/vacation,
Where are you
which
going?
will be in about 2 weeks. We're going with family and friends to Croatia and Montenegro.
Nice. Now, is this all your work on the wall behind you?
Yes.
Okay, so you do mostly like landscapes, like wildlife kind of stuff?
Yeah, no, I don't really do much wildlife.
Okay.
I only did it when I was we went to South Africa once, and so you go to the parks and you see lions and zebras and
Yeah.
elephants and rhinos and yeah. So, but no, I don't do wild. I mostly do landscape. I do a bit of travel, whatever that means.
Okay.
So that's what I do. I did a bit of street when I was with Paul down there in Valerie's cohort for a
Okay.
while.
And are you in Sphere 2 right now? Who are you with now?
I'm in Sphere 2 with Robin Greenswood.
Okay. She's wonderful. She's tough though.
She's nice. Yeah, I known Robin for a few years already. I did a mentorship with her.
Okay.
Learned a lot.
I love her. She's probably out of all of the masters that I've seen, the next time that I study to level up, she's who I'm gonna go and beg. I love her style of teaching. She demands a lot of her people, and I think that when you demand excellence, then everybody gets excellence,
Yeah,
which I think is good.
she's good, but I'm thinking of when I come back from my vacation, I want to think about my participation in the Arcanum.
Okay.
Because while Robin, as you said, she's great, and there's always something to learn, but I would like to focus more on business.
More on business. Yeah. There's probably been about 6 or 8 people in the original Sphere 1 that we ran that transferred in or out of my cohort just because either I resonated more and they wanted to come over here, or we had a couple of people that decided to go with other landscape focus, or they were just doing different things, so they stayed for a couple of levels and got the benefit that they could and moved over. So that's one of the things that I really like, is that all of the masters, we're all pretty chill about moving people around to make sure that they're getting the best experience, because it's just a big family, so there really isn't a lot of competition or like sense of ownership, I guess. Of like, these are my apprentices, like we just want everyone to have a good time. So I mean, it's like a relationship. Like essentially the first couple of levels with anyone, I feel like you're kind of dating, so it's okay for you to decide a couple levels in if we're in a committed relationship, or if it's maybe time to see other people. Yeah,
absolutely. And with Robin, when we talked at the beginning of my Sphere 2 with her, we basically agreed that it's going to stay there for 3 months. So I sort of signed up for 3 months, then they are going to expire, I think, at the beginning of August.
Okay.
So in about 10 days from now, August 4 or something, and then we'll see. So yeah,
so
that's the idea. My goal at the moment would be well, I've got a job, got a day job, so I was just doing a business call with my colleagues, and it's wonderful. I mean, no complaints at all. But I am like, photography is my passion, and it could be a hobby, could keep being a hobby, but my job in IT, especially for somebody my age, I've been like changing jobs like every 2 to 3 years on average.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to leave this job, or they would let me off, or the company, it's a small company, so there's no guarantee that they would be around in 5 years. So what happens if I'm laid off in 5 years? Do I have anything else to do? Probably not, because with my age, it's really hard to find another job.
Okay.
So I'm thinking of photography also as a safety net, something
Okay.
that I could do if I could not have a full-time job in IT anymore.
Well, and it can be both. Like you can do it while you have your full-time job
Yeah,
and have that be
that's,
supplemental income that may just be, like essentially like a retirement fund or extra money coming in, but it's always less stressful if you have a current job and you're transitioning into a new one as opposed to I have to make all my money at this right now, because there is a bit of a learning curve and there's always that build from momentum. Like you don't start at your top speed off the starting line. Like there is that, that waiting time. So are you making any income from your art right now?
just a little bit, nothing stable. I mean, what I'm doing is I've done a few exhibitions, I've sold a few prints, just now and then, because I got an invite to exhibit from a friend who has a gallery and so on. I was actually planning to contact other gallery owners locally and so on to see if I could exhibit a bit more. Got some income from selling some photos to magazines.
Okay.
Again, that's something that happened maybe once a year on average. I'm not
Okay.
pursuing that very actively. Well, I tried to recently, but it didn't get much success. But I know it's a numbers game. I just contacted like 3 magazines. I know that I need to contact more. And the other thing that I'm doing, I've started offering workshops on location, like travel, landscape, and so on. And we did one. We didn't have too much of a turnout, but that was okay because it was very local, very close here, so it was not a lot of expense. I'm doing this with a friend. We
Right.
didn't have basically many expenses, so we could just, okay, we just got a couple of attendees. We'll do it anyway because we'll learn something, and the expenses are very small, so we can just take it as a weekend away shooting photos with people. That was okay. But we are rescheduling the same workshop for this fall, autumn, if you like, and we already have 3 signups.
Good.
So we're hoping to get more when we get closer to the date. And that's probably something that I want to concentrate the most on. One, because I like doing that, because I think I have the necessary skills and knowledge to do it, and it can be a good income. And so I'm trying to work on marketing that thing. And this is where the thing that I'm finding harder, how to get myself known, how to get this venture known so that people will want to join.
I think one of the biggest problems that we see with everyone at the beginning of their business venture is that everybody's worrying about how to get known and nobody's paying enough attention to what they want to be known for. So you have to have the message before you worry about how you're delivering it. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. So let's set the money aside. Let's say that you were going to make $10,000 a month, whether you were gallery showing or magazine exhibiting or workshopping. What do you love to do?
I would definitely love to do workshops.
Okay.
Well, 2 things. I would love to do workshops, and that is probably a reasonable goal, I think. Another thing that is I would love to do, but probably much further out, would be going away on assignment for some magazine, something to say, okay, you go to, I don't know, Vietnam, and you shoot pictures for us. But that's probably, I would love to do that, but because I love traveling.
Okay.
But I think it's much harder to reach as a goal, and it would be much pose much more of an issue with my job and family and so on.
Well, that may be true, but then there's also the option that if we were rivaling or exceeding your current income, then you have the choice between whether or not you want to stay at the job or not. You just said, a couple of years, maybe we're not there anymore, whatever the reason, it's always better to go, I'm going to choose to not be at this job anymore because there's something else that I want to spend my time with, and I don't have to worry that decreases, the standard of living that I'm used to because I'm not making as much money. So that's the next question. If we were making as much money at photography as you are at your current job, would you want to stay at your current job?
Probably not.
Okay. Well, then that takes the work as an issue out, and then it just becomes an issue of work-life family balance, because your work is now your career, which you love to do, and it's just finding time to balance that with family time as well. And then it becomes a question of, are you just setting aside time to spend with the family? Are you taking your family with you on these excursions as family vacations, and they can go do other things? So you kind of have to, before we start worrying about marketing and pricing and what the plan is, you kind of have to figure out what you want, which is the first assignment everybody's doing in Sphere 2. And some of my Sphere 1s, like I test ran this theory, and Norm was part of that. Like, the first thing they did in Sphere 1 at the beginning was an assignment called the Wishing Well, where it was really just figuring out, not like what is the perfect day or what would you do if you had $1 million. It was just, what does your life look like when you have achieved everything that you want? What's an ordinary Tuesday in your life if it's your dream life? If you get everything that's ideal, what are you spending your day doing? What time are you getting up? Are you spending time with your family? Are you traveling 4 days a week? Are you traveling 4 months and then coming home and checking in on the house and then locking it back up and going off to the next place? Where is it that you want to be, and what is it you want to say that you spent your time doing when you're having your last moments? Does that make sense?
Yep, absolutely. Let's say that I would, this kind of life, more detached from a full-time job and more on the road, if you like. That's something that I would possibly look into a few years from now, because right now we have a teenage daughter. My wife has a job local here. It would be a bit hard to organize everything, but when my daughter is older and she's going to university or she has a life on her own, then it's definitely something, the idea of being more mobile, and my wife quitting her job, which she's not very satisfied with at the moment, would be something. She loved traveling, so if we could just spend a lot of time traveling, and that being a source of income too, and traveling together with my wife, and not being worried about what our daughter, because she's adult now, so she can be on her own, no problems. Then, let's say in 3-4 years from now, that would be nice.
Sounds good. So you already mapped out some of the assignments then for what you need to do, because not only do we have to support the lifestyle, but then we also have to support all of the travel for 2, and being able to go and do that, and having that not be a concern with money, and being able to handle all our financial responsibilities, but then also have the extra for traveling and being able to do that in the style that you want. Is that a 5-star hotel, or are you in a tent on the top of a mountain somewhere? And so when we start sort of visualizing what the life looks like, it's like walking into a big store where everything has a price tag on it. And then you can start kind of breaking that down and going, okay, well, we know that when we travel, we usually spend $4,000, and we want to go at least 3 times a year, so that's $12,000. You break that down, into 4,000 monthly, comes out to about $1,000 a month. If I'm doing a workshop while I'm there, I need to be able to, $1,000 a week. I need to be able to do, this many people in the workshop, and so we actually backplan and go from like the big thing and then just break it down smaller, and it becomes much more manageable, because people hear this and they do the same thing when we do this exercise, and they're like, oh, well, yeah, I'd love to make $250,000. And it's like they laugh because they think it's like, we're just playing the wishing game, and that sounds so unfathomable to them. They can't imagine making that much money doing what they love every day. But when you start breaking it down, like, oh, yeah, I'd love to make $120,000, and that sounds impossible when they're making $30,000 to $40,000 now. But then you break that down and you go, okay, well, $120,000 is $10,000 a month. Well, that's way too much too. And then you break it down further and you go, well, that's really only $2,500 a week. Well, that also sounds really, really high. I don't know if I could make $2,500 a week. Well, $2,500 a week for me is one session. If I have one client in every week, I make $2,500 minimum. That's only 4 clients a month. If you still feel like that's too high and you can't, sell that, in your case it would probably be like, I sold a printer, I sold a workshop, I don't know if I can do that. Then you just break it down further. Okay, well, now I know I have to sell one session at, $2,000, or I can sell 2 sessions at $1,000, or I can sell 4 sessions at $500, or I can sell 8 sessions at $250. And it starts to break down into things that look more manageable until we get to a place where you go, oh yeah, people would pay that for me, and I can work those number of hours. So it's just amount of figuring out whether your time or the money has more valuable to you. Do you want to work 8 days, 8 sessions a week, or do you want to work 1 session a week for a higher price tag and market as a higher end? Does that make sense? That's a lot of info.
Yeah. So at the moment, I didn't make any of those kind of evaluations or thinking about how much I would want to get from this kind of job, my expenses, or what would be my lifestyle if I had to do that full time or something. What I'm basically aiming for is fill at least 1 workshop with enough clients that we're breaking even.
That's a terrible goal.
Yeah, I know. Let me.
Then you're working for free if you break even.
Yeah, that's true, but I have a job. Okay, this is going to be a week of vacation.
Okay.
And I want to break even. I would love to make some money, but I'd be happy with breaking even.
Here's the thing.
So can I just finish? So what we did was we listed all the expenses, and then we said, okay, what is the average market price, or what we could ask clients, and how many clients do we get to break even? Turns out it's about 6. Okay, so if we said, if we get 6 clients, we will go ahead and do it, even if we're not making any money, because we are making experience and we are getting our name out, because we have 1 workshop under our belt. So we can exploit word of mouth. That some people have been telling me it's essential for this kind of thing, because people who have come to your workshop will tell their friends and so on. And
word of mouth means nothing if, depending on what the message is that's being relayed, though. Word of mouth means nothing if what you're getting is just enough to pass by, and that they're telling them, it depends on what the advertising is. If they're going, this is a really cheap workshop that you can go to and you can learn a lot and it's great value for the money, and then everybody's expecting it to be at a lower rate, the message is more important than the word of mouth.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, is that I'm all about understanding what your break-even line is, but your break-even line should never be your goal. That should be below the minimum standard. So you never go, well, I have to make $2,000 in order for this to not cost me money, because then I'm paying to work, which is bad. $2,000 is the break-even line. that should not be your goal that you're going towards. That should be the bare minimum standard that you have 6 months ahead of time for the workshop, or 3 months ahead of time, whatever it is. The goal should be 4 times that. So if $2,000 is your minimum to break even, then your goal should be about $8,000. And whether you have 8 people paying $1,000 for that or 16 paying $500, you know, then you can work out what the expenses are and how many people and that. But the problem is that you just did what most people do that are struggling with their business. And you said all of it. You said, we did market research. We saw what everybody else was charging for about this. We figured out what our break-even line was, and those were all subpar things where you looked at outside elements to determine what your personal value is, which doesn't actually rely on any of that. Because there are people that do, you know, landscape one-day workshops for $100, and there are people that do them for $10,000. You know, so you can be anywhere that you want on the spectrum. And just looking at the images on the wall behind you, you're good enough that you can be teaching and offering incredible value. So you don't let the market research tell you, and you don't let some other photographer determine your value. You decide what your time and energy is worth. And basically, what it's worth is the amount of time that you have to give up to do it, which is time that you would rather spend doing something else. You know, so you can love this, and it can be great that it's paying for free trips, and I'm fine for that. I do that all the time. You know, when I have somewhere I want to go shoot, I'll do a workshop over there so that it finances the trip for me and for my team to go over, because my time for a day is worth more to me than expending the money to go do that trip for the entire team that goes over. I'm okay with that. And like you said, you have a day job, so you don't have to necessarily worry about the money. But if you're working for free, basically what you just said was, I have no value. I'm worth exactly 0.
Yeah, I know. Maybe I wasn't making myself very clear about this. That's the thing. Let me see if I can find my spreadsheet somewhere.
I actually have to run. I have another meeting at 11. Yeah. But I do think, you know, I do think that workshops are totally doable. We have 2 other people that are in Sphere 2 that are focusing on building their workshop business. I can already tell you have a good head on your shoulders. It's not going to be hard for you to get where you want to be.
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to add this because it might be, I might not have been clear. 6 people is not our goal, is our minimum. We will not do it if it's only 5 people. If it's 6, we will do the first. We break even, and we're using that. Our goal is to have 12 people.
Okay, that's good. It's good to know the minimum, and it's good to know what the max is that you're willing to do for the experience. My other word of caution is that we were talking about word of mouth. If you have 4 people sign up that are excited and then you cancel because you can't fill it, they're going to pass around a lot of word of mouth the next time that your name comes up for a workshop too. So it's always, you always have the money to finance it, so that if you have to take a hit for whatever reason and you don't go, you don't make enough money, then you do it anyway, and you take the hit, and you learn from that experience what went wrong, and you do it anyway. But you never give people a reason to talk bad about you. So, and the nice thing about that is that we can build it, and you know, that can be the kind of thing where if 6 people is your minimum and 12 is your max, then those 6 people that are above that are the foundation that you put into the next workshop, so that the next workshop's paid before a single person signs up. Mm-hmm. That's and we can get more into that. We'd have to, you and I, if you decide that you want to change cohorts and focus on business, or even if you just want to set up some one-on-one time with me, you'd have to do, we'd have to do like an hour, just you and I, and just sit down and like talk about what all your goals are, because it's really, really hard for you to convey exactly what you're after, and for me to give you really solid advice in like a 15 to 20 minute time frame, which was really all we got.
Absolutely, would love to do that.
Okay, well, drop me a line on Google Hangouts, and feel free, like your spreadsheets and stuff. I'm not cutting you off. I just want to get to the next meeting on time. But feel free to drop me a line and send me those if you want, and we can chat more about it, because I don't mind just sitting down and spending some time with you guys in Sphere 2 anyway. Even if you are with different cohorts, we can do this a couple of times over the next couple of months. So we'll
Thanks
see.
a lot. Very
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for hanging out, guys. Paul, you hung out and I did not get any time with you. I'm sorry.
It's no problem. I'm in my office, so the phone's going to be ringing any time. I just dropped in and listening to what was being said. That was all. Got a bit of a cold as well at the moment, which doesn't really help matters.
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll feel better. Drink lots of tea.
Well, I've just finished one, so I'm going to get another one out.
I'm going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Paul, you and I will be talking because you just jumped into Sphere 2, so I have a lot of stuff for you already, but I just want to touch base with you one more time before we set it up. So.
Okay, that's lovely. Yeah,
All
just
right.
give me a shout. We'll take it from there.
Okay, sounds good. I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for hanging out.
Cheers. Bye. Bye-bye.
Cheers.